Hello, William Johnson here, and in this episode, I am still on the improvised theme of playing in a drum break, playing percussion with a drummer in a drum break in a contemporary rock and pop type context. But in this episode, I have added timbales, and I've added cowbells and a wood block. It's actually not made out of wood, it's plastic, but wood block sound. So anyways, in the previous video, I just used floor toms and the congas and the shakers and rattlers as like snare effects. But in this video, I wanted to change or introduce a different timbre of sound, a different wood blocks, timbales tuned much higher, like in an Afro-Cuban or Latin context. And I wanted to combine them with the tambourine and the floor tom and the rattlers and the congas. And so also, right before this, or before I even mention that, if you have not yet subscribed to this channel, I'd love for you to be a part of the subscription family. Hit the subscribe button, hit a like, comment, give me some feedback. But hit the subscribe button too, and then hit that bell notification, and you'll be notified of any future videos. So anyways, back to this. I in the previous episode, I put a bunch of videos together of me playing to show you a practical example, a practical idea of, or ideas of what different scenarios would sound like in an improvised theme, meaning that I'm actually improvising on the spot. I'm just kind of coming up with what I think will add to an explosive sound. That was what I was going for in my mind. So I used lower sounds on the floor tom, lower sounds on the congas, etc., etc. But this time I want to introduce this timbre, this high-pitched sounds, metallic sounds, woodblock sounds. Also, right before I press record, I was just keeping myself open. There's this improvisation thing again, keeping myself open to ideas. And I had this idea, what if I took a shaker and mounted it and played it like a hi-hat, like a snare effect. And so, where's my brushes? Here they go. So I thought, okay, well, I mount it, but I don't want it to fall. So I put some tape around it. This is a Mino shaker, Luis Conte model. And so now it's like that. And so I was playing it, getting that sound. Pretty cool, huh? It's like a hi-hat or even a cascara sound. So now the only thing is then it kept spinning. So the next time I have to tape it around. But I bring this up for the sake of a point that I made previously, that we want to keep ourselves, our minds, our hearts open to experimenting. Improvisation lives outside of just the actual notes you play, but how you innovate your setup. Now, this is a different kind of setup, but I think it's relevant to this explanation. You may have some timbales lying around. You may have some cowbells. You may have junk, and I call it junk, but not junk, just accessory stuff, kitchen sink stuff that could be mounted and played, but it has that metallic sound or a higher pitch sound. What would that sound like? Now, here's the thing. In this contemporary rock, or especially in a worship type setting, in a church, a contemporary, emergent, evangelical, house of worship, I think Elevation, Hillsong, whatever. In this type of situation, in this context, there may not be a whole lot of percussion. Now, here's where we want to be careful about being culturally biased. If we go for this, it might work, it might not. But we don't want to automatically assume that because this has that automatic Latin sound to me, then it changes the genre. Oh, that's not going to work. We want to be careful that we're not, our cultural bias or our ethnocentric views don't stop us from being effective, don't stop us from reaching something that could be beautiful. People perceive sounds in different ways, and you want to be conscious and sensitive to those that are in the audience, those that are in the congregation, because they may perceive these sounds differently. Not all just low sounds like that are necessarily perceived as a war cry type of sound, a battlefield. It might be a metallic sound. It might be a cowbell sound, and it might be a cowbell used in an unorthodox manner. It might be a cowbell used with brushes, right? And it might be that you're thinking of big machinery, and so you use the cowbells as metallic sounds to create this big machinery type of sound. I don't know, but either way, you go for it and you try it out and see what happens. Okay, so I used all these different sounds. Now maybe perhaps in another episode I'll take the timbales and I'll tune them down. You could also, if you have some, you can change the heads. You can put stuff on them. You can play them with different stuff, different sticks, with brushes. You can play that like a shaker. You can do this thing with that shaker like I mentioned. Another thing about timbales is pretty cool. If you tune them a certain way and then use mallets, they can be like timpanis. I have this tambourines resonating. If you don't like that, you might want to change where you have it mounted. But the cool thing about that is if you combine that mallets with the congas and you tune these a certain way, you can now play melodies and combine those melodies combined with rhythms, and then you have a whole nother sonic palette. So what you use with the actual to strike the instrument, what instruments you use, they all change the environment. So let's see. All of this stuff was done one take. Some of it I thought was pretty cool. Some of it I thought was horrendous. But hey, it is what it is. In a live situation, that's what you got. Be bold, be confident. I want you to be inspired to just go with it. It might not work, but hey, that's experience. That's something you could put another notch on your belt. If you don't wear a belt, another bullet in your resume. But either way, check out the video, watch this. Hey, don't forget to subscribe. Watch these videos. You might take something from this. You might just be entertained. I don't know. Either way, God bless you. See you soon. Hey, watch this. Watch what's coming up next.